but
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah, I'm looking through my notes
Oh,
now.
we do have some encouraging stories to
Absolutely.
talk about this week.
Definitely. A lot of encouraging.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
We will not disappoint you.
Well, I'm sure we do on a daily, weekly basis.
And
But
we love that Ketanji Brown Jackson.
we do. Okay.
And you were okay with me adding this gender in there?
Sure.
Yes.
And have we ditched the elephants?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Well, not because of what you said, but I just thought,
What the hell?
I don't think it was an intergenerational relationship. Some people are short.
I do.
Some people didn't look like a baby elephant.
How could one tell?
Didn't look like a baby elephant.
And we have to really escalate the noise we make so that we'll be heard.
Welcome to Gay USA. I'm Andy Humm.
I'm Ann Northrop.
And I'm still in the USA. Gay USA.
Yeah.
In the headlines, we have anything to talk about beforehand?
Travis and Taylor are getting engaged.
A big heterosexual story.
Now, last week my body was a wreck. I have put it in better shape. I'm going for PT. I'm on a new anti-cancer drug. Everything is basically good.
Right. On with the show.
Okay.
So in Florida, LGBTQ activists and allies in local government are fighting back against the state ban on rainbow crosswalks.
Is this going to turn out to be the issue of the year, rainbow crosswalks? I'm not picky. I'll take it.
We'll get to it. I think it's going to lead to a lot more rainbows being shown around the country.
Okay. One of America's preeminent, most persistent, and vicious anti-LGBTQ activists has died.
This guy was primo in that regard. The writers of a writer of the Golden Girls TV show, you remember that, kids?
Please, we're still watching it.
Reveals that death threats were received when they showed a gay wedding on the show.
Doesn't everybody get death threats?
Yeah, I used to get them, but I'm a husband now.
The White House has listed exhibits on race, gender, and LGBTQ issues that it demands be removed from the Smithsonian. This only proves the federal government has too much involvement in everything in this country.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm advocating people
states' rights,
make themselves free of it. We'll get to that. Trump's attacks on Washington, D.C. and the Federal Reserve are all animated by racism.
Excuse me. Trump is banning federal insurers from covering gender-affirming care at any age.
Any age. A trans runner is suing Swarthmore College for cutting her from the track team.
But in Minnesota, a trans legislator got married at the state capitol.
In a Paris suburb, they arrested the serial killer of 4 gay men.
Yeah, found in the Seine. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is ripping the Supreme Court right wing for allowing Trump's defunding of NIH research grants.
CVS Health, where we get our prescriptions.
Exactly.
Says it won't cover the new HIV treatment, which is not doing that is a violation of the Affordable Care Act.
But a hard-fought win for inmates with HIV in Louisiana, and a few other big wins we'll tell you about.
Yes, and so this Florida story, the fight over rainbow crosswalks. We have them everywhere. We have them at the Stonewall. This one, put it up on the screen, was at the Pulse Memorial. This is part of the Pulse Memorial.
It's been there for several years, hasn't
And it was all dedicated by public officials. Everybody was in on it.
Yeah.
But they hate us so much that they keep filling it in and making it black and white again.
Well,
but things aren't just black and white in this world.
Well, some of this is about the morons. I'm sorry, I've been told I shouldn't use that word.
Right. The bad people.
The bad Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, who under Trump has said that all political references should be removed from street crossings.
Yes, we're our 49 people dying at the Pulse massacre is political. Yeah, crazy.
So that's just the last 6 months they've been in office. So therefore, he communicates that to the Florida Department of Transportation, or they divine it from his brain. And the Florida Department of Transportation covers over those rainbow crosswalks with just black and white.
Well, we have a video report on this, so let's show that.
The Orlando crosswalk was painted on the pavement outside Pulse, once a popular gay nightclub that was the site of one of the U.S.'s deadliest mass shootings. In 2016, a gunman killed 49 people.
It's sad that they do this because this is being here from the day one.
There are similar crosswalks in other parts of Florida, as well as murals that now risk being removed. The state's Department of Transportation says as of June, markings on pavement can't be political. The federal transportation secretary adopted the same rule in July. Sean Duffy sent a letter to all 50 states telling them to prioritize safety over political statements. Some towns in Florida removed colored crosswalks on their own. Others are fighting, but face losing millions in state and federal funding. The deadline is September 3rd.
I think it's terrible. I don't think the federal government should be telling local governments what to do.
It's about uniform standards.
This Republican state representative says opponents of the new rules are playing performative politics and that an active roadway isn't appropriate for rainbow markings.
I have a lot of groups that want representation. We've got dedicated areas for that.
Now, there are studies that show intersections with colorful crosswalks are actually safer. One group in Florida paints roadways outside schools and seniors' residences. Well, since this rainbow crosswalk was painted in Miami Beach in 2018, there have been fewer accidents than at the next intersection to the north and the next one to the south. As for the one outside the former Pulse nightclub, protesters gave it back its color this week, at least temporarily. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
The mayor of Orlando, Buddy Dyer, called this a cruel political act. And of course, the insanity of claiming you're doing this for safety when it is clear from all the studies that the safe thing to do is to have eye-catching crosswalks.
The safe thing to do in terms of all these gun incidents, like the one in Minnesota this week, would be to ban these kind of weapons. But we don't do that, do we?
No.
And then you have the right-wing representative, Randy Fine, down there. You know, they take the line, oh, there are other ways to memorialize people. But this is part of the woke agenda, he said. This is the guy who referred to LGBTQ people as perverts who wish to groom our children.
Well, with that kind of attitude, we're never going to get anywhere. We're never going to get anything. We're never going to get respect. We're never going to get acknowledgement.
Well,
and we're certainly not going to get...
Put up the slide. You know, let's not forget 49 people massacred there. It was the largest mass shooting in the country up until that time. And we don't want to forget them.
No,
and of course, when
shocking.
Governor DeSantis, issues his annual Pulse statement, he now omits any references to gays or Latin people. So anyway, and it looks like the state's going to be eliminating all colored crosswalks across Orlando this week. I mean, any kind of, and some of them have nothing to do with gay stuff.
We ought to mandate all crosswalks and intersections being colorful if they are in fact safer, which is what it seems to look like.
Let's do that.
You want the world to be safer. Let's follow the research.
Sean Duffy's going to say, if you don't do what we say, you're losing all your transportation funds.
The guy who said, I have lots of people who want to be acknowledged. Fine, do them all. You've got lots of intersections.
So in the wake of this, the Orlando City Hall under Mayor Dyer is now displaying a rainbow banner.
I like this.
And, this is, and people are waving rainbow flag. You think you're going to stop the rainbow? You can't stop the rainbow. What are you going to do? Shoot it down in the sky when they appear? I mean,
Well, maybe they think we're being disrespectful to God if we use the rainbow ourselves.
No.
Also, Dallas is reclaiming a crosswalk that was painted over. I think I have that right.
Well, no, this is the one in Delray Beach, which is a whole the whole intersection, including the center of it, is painted with rainbow colors. And if the mayor there, the vice mayor, Rob Long, said if the state attempts to remove the Pride mural before the city's hearing, they're going to call the cops for trespassing. This is what you have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like what the DA in Philadelphia said. You come here with these ICE things and you with your masks and everything, we're going to arrest you for these kinds of abductions and stuff.
All right, enough of that. Please start a rainbow crosswalk revolution in your town.
Okay.
But we have to.
By the way, like in New York, they have to have police protect statues of Christopher Columbus.
Well, of course.
Because we throw red, I haven't done it myself, but because he was a genocidal maniac, the red paint on him.
Did you go see the statue where they built the scaffolding around it to go? That was kind of cool.
It was kind of cool, even if it was honoring someone we should not be honoring.
Yeah. Well, I was just
That's
looking
a
at
long
it as
story.
art. All right. In Iowa this week, stunning great news. They had a special election for a state Senate seat. So what, you say? Well, it was a very a red seat, a Republican seat.
Trump won it by 12% or 11.5%. And this woman, Caitlin Dray, beat this MAGA candidate by 10 points. So that's a 21-point swing towards the Democrats. That was very encouraging.
Very. And what interested me was that the Democratic National Committee, which has been accused of sitting on its hands through every election for a long time, sent, ready for this, 30,000 volunteers into this district. 30,000.
Wow.
Now,
we can't do this for every state Senate district.
Why not? Let's do. We got a big country. We got 300 million people.
Do, but this, by the way, is very significant because they've got a Republican governor, Kim Reynolds, and this will deny the Republicans a supermajority in the legislature.
They went from 34 Republicans and 16 Democrats, meaning the Republicans could do anything they want because they had a supermajority, to 33 Republicans and 17 Democrats.
So they can have filibusters.
Yes.
So this denies her the ability to stack agencies and courts with MAGA loyalists.
Yes, and they're about to have they're having a state Senate race in Georgia.
Yes.
Which again was a very red district, but they have ended up in a situation where they're going to have a runoff. And so people are a little optimistic.
Right. But the news is mostly bad. I mean, the former chairman of the Proud Boys this week said, things we were doing and talking about in 2017 that were taboo, they're no longer taboo. They're mainstream now. Honestly, what have we got to complain about? We're getting everything we want. And then Stephen Miller went on his big tirade against everything in Washington and Democrats.
Well, this is the thing with Stephen Miller. I have a whole list of things that Trump is doing, but one of them is assembling a strike force in every state in the country of National Guard people who have been federalized, and Stephen Miller is recruiting not just militarily trained people for this. Anybody is welcome to join.
18-year-old kids.
Anybody who is sort of naturally appropriate. The Proud Boys will be joining these strike forces, and what they're doing is you see these National Guard troops in Washington who have nothing to do.
They're picking up garbage now.
They are, but they and hanging out outside the Dunkin' Donuts. No, Krispy Kreme, excuse me. But these are all just lying in wait, and they're seeding this around the country.
And all your FEMA money that you rely on when you have a natural disaster, and it can happen to any of you, your hundreds of millions of dollars is just going into building these concentration camps in every state. That's where the money's going. And, of course, they want to lock up immigrants. And I thought, oh my God.
They will escalate that.
I thought, oh my God, who's gonna pick the crops? Well, the abducted people in the concentration camps are going to pick the crops. They'll be slave labor for these kinds of functions. Serious.
I suspect they'll just pick enough crops for the 1%.
Well,
just a guess.
Can't run a country like that.
So Stephen Miller and his henchmen and Trump, of course, are talking about assembling these forces for public safety and to quell public disturbances. That means going after the people who are repainting the crosswalks in Florida and everybody else. And of course, this strike force, these guys are going to be wearing masks, no IDs. This is going to be an anonymous strike force all across the country, ready at a moment's notice to come after whoever they want to attack. That sounds extreme and impossible, but that's literally what they are doing.
Nothing sounds extreme anymore, but you got to stop letting it happen. At least the guy who threw the sandwich at the ICE guy, they couldn't indict him in the city of Washington.
They're going to spend $100 million to defeat Gavin Newsom's redistricting proposal. $100 million plus. And ICE agents are already harassing people and threatening them outside meetings that Democrats are having to put together this.
Well,
this election.
Is this the SS or the SA?
Both.
Well, gay activist Wayne Besson, who does the Truth Wins Out website, he has written an article called "Fascism is Here," so the LGBTQ movement must pivot. And we will link to that article in our newsletter. And if you want to be on our email list to get these links, go to gayusatv.org. But, when people say, all this encroaching and authoritarianism, I said, it's here. It's over. This country is over. We have no checks and balances, no check from the Congress, no check from the Supreme Court. We'll get to that. And then you don't have a government.
6 months ago, 8 months ago, when Trump was elected and when he took office, many, many people sat around and said, oh my God, here it comes. Nazi Germany, 1930, whatever.
3.
Thank you. And people went, huh. But what I think is happening right now is exactly that. Exactly.
And
there are large numbers of people in the country who are going about their lives and watching the U.S. Open tennis and sending their kids to school. And everybody thinks, it's fine. It's fine. People are exaggerating. But then you see this stuff about these strike forces and the election interference. They're going to kill mail-in voting and voting machines.
That's going to be a fight with the states.
It is, but they're going to chip away at the edges. They're going to succeed in outlawing mail-in ballots that are filled out and mailed before the election deadline, but don't reach the election headquarters until afterwards.
Trump's going to get all his geezers to stand on those long lines and vote for Republicans?
I think he's just going to cancel elections. It's too screwed up.
I use the term advisedly.
He is ordering federal grab of registration data and investigation of voter fraud. That's only going to increase. He's going to send federal troops to urban high Democratic vote areas to shut down the vote.
But as all his nominees said at their hearings, we would never weaponize our departments against the American people.
He's going to challenge election results after the elections and refuse to seat Democrats. All of this is in the wind.
Well, then a little temper to that.
Okay.
is
Am I getting too
no,
histrionic?
no. You cannot be alarmist enough.
Yeah.
People have to wake up.
But this is the fulfillment of his elect me and you'll never have to vote again.
Right.
We all thought, oh, that's funny, but no, it's
I don't
literal.
think we all think. So another article about it's time for Americans to start talking about soft secession. And this means that the blue states, and apparently this planning has been going on among blue state leaders.
It warmed my heart.
How do we, resist what's happening the way the South did after the Civil War? The South nullified a lot of the results of the war and kept Black people down for another 100 years and out of the voting booths and all that kind of stuff. So this would be American federalism, and we're going to have to insist on it and make it happen.
Well, this was a wonderful article that was published about soft secession, and we're going to link to it in the show note. And if you, for some reason, have
23 Democratic attorneys general have daily phone calls about this. So they're not sitting around, especially Tish James.
It is a wonderful, wonderful article about what's really going on as they plan this. They are building parallel systems, withholding cooperation, bypassing federal authority, drafting lawsuits, asserting the supremacy of state laws over federal laws. All this planning is going on that none of us knew about because it's really below the radar at the moment. But this article really lays it out and makes you feel so much better about the possibility of fighting back. And we will link to it in our show note. If you are not on our email list, this is absolutely bottom line the time to get on it to get this article. Go to gayusatv.org and just sign up to get the newsletter. It's once a week. This week is probably the most important thing we've linked to and published.
And at least we don't have to worry about James Dobson anymore, although his son is running his... He's, by the way, not a minister. This is the guy who founded in 1977 Focus on the Family. Now, he started out as a therapist, and his big pitch was spank your kids, corporal punishment. We have to get back to that. And it was all very fear-based. And this is him with Ronald Reagan because he became very influential with Republican presidents. He was sort of like the anti-Dr. Spock. And everything was
at a minimum.
Everything was based on fear. His first book was Dare to Discipline, 3 million copies. Also, what wives wish their husbands knew about women. Love must be tough, and parenting is not for cowards. So anyway, Reagan appointed him to various things, but this guy was on our case. He was on our case forever, and working against LGBTQ rights, Focus on the Family, he labeled the gay rights movement the particularly evil lie of Satan. Now, and his anti-trans stuff, where did all that come from? When he was in the third grade, did you read this?
I don't think so.
Third grade, he stumbled accidentally into the girls' restroom.
Oh, no.
And he was so mortified and horrified that this had happened.
That women exist?
No, so then, he started to, so his pronouncements about trans people trans women going into women's restrooms were basically they should be shot. He said this explicitly.
Is that projection? Was he saying he should have been shot for stumbling into the restroom?
Who knows? I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Well, he was very much in favor of conversion therapy. He promoted that a lot.
He once called for a boycott of SpongeBob SquarePants because the cartoon character must be gay due to being part of a campaign for tolerance. Now, we can't tolerate tolerance in this country.
Well, that's the thing. A large part of the opposition to us is about being seen as too permissive.
But he was also very effective in many cases. Now, we got same-sex marriage. We may be taken away, but, so we defeated him in that respect. And then look at Pete Hegseth. He's appeared at least 4 times on the Reformation Red Pill podcast, hosted by Joshua Hames, an anti-LGBTQ extremist who wants to execute adulterers and people who have abortions, and has seemingly called for the deaths of LGBTQ pride marchers.
Yeah, we talked last week about his fealty to this right-wing pastor. Terrifying.
This is somebody else. This is
another one.
This is another one. This is another one.
And yet,
it was nice to see people screaming at him when he came out of a restaurant in Washington.
It's nice to see people screaming at Susan Collins.
Shame.
Well, that does give me hope, and you do see that around
all
the
over the country.
And please do it more. Feel free to do it more, because there has to be some way of fighting back. We can't be passive about this.
All right. In Texas, are you done with, well, of course, we're not done with Trump. I mean, by the way, Harvard University is now making big compromise. We said how great they were. They're standing up to him. They're suing him.
Not anymore.
They're making all these things. They got rid of the Harvard office of, they call it BGLTQ plus life, confusing for me, and folding it into just an office on campus life. They're getting rid of intercultural and race relations offices. They're caving.
And Robbie Starbuck, who was hired, we told you last week, by Meta to be their arbiter of online discriminatory language, lost his mind over the Cracker Barrel logo.
And he won.
Yes, he
because
did.
They've reverted to their old thing. They were also instructed by the president to do that.
And the Target CEO quit. Target took a real beating on the stock market after they backed off from DEI. So he lost his job. Will they go back to doing more DEI stuff? I don't know. I hope so. They had a good reputation for years.
Good news from Texas. Federal District Court there ruled that the law requiring the display of the 10 Commandments in every schoolroom is unconstitutional. And this has happened in all the other states where they've tried to do this, like Arkansas and Louisiana.
And a judge in New York City has ordered the release of the gay Jamaican who had come here seeking asylum. It turns out he'd been shot at 10 times in Jamaica and brutalized at home for being suspected of being gay. Ricardo Anthony Kelly, the ICE people picked him up because he was applying for asylum here. He's 40 years old. He was treated horribly in the ICE jail here, inhumane treatment. He revealed some of what goes on there. So he's released for the moment, but who knows, they'll probably pick him up again in a day.
And I had this story right after the Dobson story, because this was the atmosphere back when he was riding high. Golden Girls, we're going back to 1991 now. The writer, Mark Cherry, for the show, says that when they did one featuring an LGBTQ wedding, they received death threats over it. This was Blanche's brother getting married to someone.
Carlton.
He said, yes. He said that the letters that they got said they showed us the letters to those effing Jew producers of Golden Girls, to which Mark Cherry says, well, I'm not Jewish, but, that's a little weird. But
there are the Golden Girls, and I think we have another picture of the, it was 1991. Marriage between two men was not legal, but it was a commitment ceremony that they did. So they were even ahead of the time on that.
And people had religious marriages. That were, there were a lot of religious gay marriages in those days.
Well, Blanche, I guess she didn't perform it, but she had come around. She objected to it at
Let's
first.
go to the Smithsonian.
Let's not.
Well, it's becoming less attractive. So the White House published a list of all the things they consider offensive in the Smithsonian, and they ordered a 120-day deadline to replace. Now, there's at the Smithsonian, for instance, they were flying the Progress LGBTQ visibility flag. They specifically cite this is the kind of stuff that's got to stop.
That's the American History Museum at the Smithsonian.
Anyway, but it's
No, they objected to an animated drawing of Anthony Fauci.
It's really Orwellian censorship.
Too much emphasis on slavery and
anything
Latinos.
gay. The National Museum of the American Latino. This is the thing, kind of stuff they cite. They object to animated Latinos and Latinas with disabilities, with content for a disabled plus-sized actress and an ambulatory wheelchair user who educates on their identity being Latinx, LGBTQ, and disabled. So all this stuff is considered offensive, objectionable, un-American. I mean, it's just, God.
I find myself yearning, futile as it may be, to have a conversation. If I can ever stop coughing.
Okay.
With some of these officials to try to confront them more directly than anyone seems to be doing about, are you just not willing to acknowledge the existence of any of these people in the United States as U.S. citizens?
New York Times did a big story on Donald Trump's big gay government this week, continuing its canard that Trump is in any way pro-gay. You know, he was tutored by the homosexual Roy Cohn, who we dumped after Roy Cohn got AIDS. But none of the gay quislings in this story have done anything in their lives to stand up for LGBTQ rights and dignity. They're right-wing reactionaries who happen to be homosexual, and they're silent in the face of, while Trump is cutting everything gay out of the Smithsonian, out of healthcare, out of, everything, they are silent. So
it was interesting that they were all men also.
No lesbians, even though Tammy Bruce is a lesbian.
Well, that's one.
She's been nominated to be the UN ambassador, but she wasn't in the article. But these people are, totally unqualified, but anyway. And then Trump says he's going to fire the Federal Reserve Board member, Lisa D. Cook. That's a big story this week.
Yeah.
And again, it's all based on race. She's a black woman, and he is, trying to use any pretext to get her out, because once he gets her out, he gets a majority on the Federal Reserve, and then he starts effing with the economy in ways that you are not going to like.
And the irony, of course, which people are pointing out, is that none of these charges mean anything. It is all about his racism and his quest for more power. But, she committed mortgage fraud. Well, what did he do? He committed mortgage fraud by mischaracterizing the worth of his buildings. He got prosecuted and convicted of it.
I just want to say something about Ms. Cook, this woman he's after. She was involved in desegregating schools in Georgia as a child and still has physical scars from being attacked by segregationists when she enrolled in a formerly white school. She's the first black woman on the board. Her dissertation at Berkeley focused on underdevelopment of the banking system in Tsarist and post-Soviet Russia. I mean, her research suggested that violence against African Americans under Jim Crow laws led to a lower than expected number of actual patents filed in the United States. So she's an extremely accomplished, brilliant economist.
Yes.
And that's why he wants her gone. He wants stupid people in who will just do what he says.
Well, I'm glad.
Stupid people.
For the moment, at least, that she's...
Can we say that?
I hope so. Although people don't like to be called stupid, I've found out.
I hope they don't like it, but I'm calling them stupid.
I am thrilled that she is refusing to just go away, and I hope she keeps that up. Too many people, Harvard, law firms, whatever, have just caved, and she has not yet.
And we also got a good decision in Maryland where a Trump-appointed judge dismissed his suit against all 15 members of the federal bench in Maryland.
Yeah,
this is a Trump judge, because Trump was saying these judges are left-wing, liberal activists, radical, politically minded, unhinged, outrageous. These are the kinds of things. And he says, you can't do this. There's, you object to a decision, you appeal it. That's what we do in the judicial system.
They had to bring in people from Virginia to be involved in this case.
This judge is from Virginia because all 15 judges were being sued by your president, our president.
Another tenet of Project 2025 is being put into place. The government has now announced that immigrants, among other things, have to prove that they are of good moral character to have any chance of immigration
this is a
here.
way of excluding gay people, of course, who are at the Trump Kennedy Center. Quisling Stephen Nakagawa, got a picture of him, was named by Rick Grinnell, who's also homosexual, as director of dance programming. He had written a letter to the center's president noting his support for the Trump administration and complained about radical leftist ideologies in ballet. Now,
he was hired 3 days later.
But in 2020, he choreographed a ballet for the Washington Ballet, Rising Sun, which the company described as having been created in 2020 during the rise of violence against Asian and Pacific Islander people. So he was woke then, but that's not where the money is now.
He wanted the job. He comes from the ballet world. He's supposed to now be in charge of all dance programs at the Kennedy Center. Grinnell says to him, well, in taking this job as head of dance at the Kennedy Center, we think you should be doing things like the program So You Think You Can Dance. That's the programming we're going to see at the Kennedy Center around dance.
And we've told you that the right-wing bomb thrower, Candace Owens, is being sued in the United States by French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte for repeatedly saying that Ms. Macron is a man. She's now complaining that my lawyers tell me this is going to cost me millions and I need money. Now, her father-in-law is worth $200 million. Why don't you ask him for the dough?
Put the touch on him. The administration has ordered Pam Bondi, the attorney general, to find a case to prosecute of a flag burner so they can get rid of this horrible Supreme Court decision that flag burning is protected under the First Amendment.
The flag burning decision by the Supreme Court, which said it was First Amendment, was joined by Antonin Scalia on the side of saying it's a First Amendment right.
Right.
You don't have to like it, but it's certainly a First Amendment
right. The whole
right.
point of First Amendment rights are to protect things you don't like.
Right. The Trump administration is now excluding gender-affirming care coverage for federal employees by banning the insurance companies that handle these things from covering it. This is at all ages.
And the Supreme Court, by a vote of 5-4, says Trump can end health grants for research that advances diversity, equity, and inclusion, or gender ideology, that they're allowed to make that decision about health grants.
Is this the thing? Is this the thing where Ketanji Brown Jackson was weighing in?
Could have been. This involves health grants that deal with heart disease, HIV/AIDS,
I'm going to get to
Alzheimer's, alcohol abuse.
I put it under health and AIDS news, but I do want to
substance abuse, mental health.
I do want to go into what she said.
It lifts a lower court order, but the case continues in U.S. Court of Federal Claims.
Ketanji Brown Jackson, bless her for being so outspoken, says that decision lobs a grenade without evaluating the impact of the ruling. Didn't evaluate Congress's intent and the profound legal and practical consequences of stopping all this life-saving research and care. I mean, it's just nuts.
Heartless.
She was joined by Justice John Roberts and Kagan and Sotomayor in dissent in that case. It's just the stuff they're cutting.
Now, did you just refer to the Office of Personnel Management memo? It says as of next year, all government health plans.
Yes, I did.
And it also said they're required to cover conversion therapy.
I didn't have that in there. I'm glad I watched this show because I learned so much.
And all states must delete references to gender identity in federally funded sex ed materials. Because it's indoctrination of delusional ideology. But meanwhile, California has already refused to remove such references.
So they're losing $12 million. And they're threatening New York, which would lose $6 million, and Georgia would lose $4.5 million.
And of course, the greatest shame of all, the PGA, the Professional Golf Association, after valiantly canceling a tournament an annual tournament at Trump's place in the first administration, has now agreed to take him back.
Well, they don't want to lose their tax exemption from the dictator.
Yeah.
And when Columbia University struck a deal with the Trump administration last month, it came with the promise that the financial lifeblood of scientific research would start to flow again, but that's not entirely what's happening. So they're saying the scientists feel they dodged a bullet only to face the prospect of a firing squad because they're gonna be, because of all these cuts to the NIH, the money's not going to be there for any new grants anyway. So you suck up to them, and then they screw you over anyway.
All right, time for a little good news break. In San Francisco, the trans community is launching something called the Riot Fund to make up for the loss of federal funds. So they're out there working to help people. And in Illinois, the governor announced a free legal hotline for LGBTQ plus people. Pritzker says, "We're fighting cruelty with compassion. The Illinois Pride Connect will give legal advice on housing, safety, healthcare access, discrimination, getting IDs, etc."
Right, and in New York City, despite all these federal prohibitions, they approved a bill that requires physicians and nurses who work for the health department or in public schools, offices of school health, to complete competency training in health concerns related to sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, etc., and sex characteristics. It passed 37-7 in New York, although the gay Republican voted against it in the city council.
From Staten Island.
Yeah.
All right. Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Yes. Well, trans runner Evie Parts, her name is suing in the Swarthmore and the NCAA in federal court in Pennsylvania, saying she was illegally removed from the women's track team for being transgender. They recruit you, they put you on the team, they say, "Oh, it's great to have you," and then then they just won't use you anymore, and they say, you can't play. Says she spiraled into a severe depression over this. She's graduated. I mean, Swarthmore says, "Oh, we deeply value our transgender community members. And we tried to accommodate her, blah, 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 as this evolves. But, you got to stand up. People have to stand up."
Well,
and this is not, I guess what you could say is this is not, a fight on which they want to die.
Yeah. On a slightly lighter note, I know you don't watch The Real Housewives of New York.
I do not.
Silly you. But you may be aware of the very famous artist, Mickalene Thomas. Not
Sorry.
Reacting. Okay. Well, here, let's show the picture. Raquel Chevremont, on the left there, is an art curator, very well known in the community, who is on The Real Housewives of New York recently. And it turns out she's been in a long-term relationship with Mickalene Thomas, there on the right, and is now...
Well, that's her ex-fiance.
Yeah.
Suing her now for $10 million over a hostile work environment and saying they broke up and she kept, "Oh, come on, let's get back together, blah, 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 blah." And she called it hostile and abusive.
And claimed she was underpaid in working with her and that Mickalene stole money from her. Big scandal in the art world.
Here's for those of you making out your wills, I mean, HRC announced that they got a gift of $3.6 million from the late Gavin Gourjian, a leader out there in, where am I? Las Vegas. He passed away in 2022, and but think about these things as you're making out your wills about helping organizations which are losing a lot of funding these days. And if you want to support Gay USA, of course, go to gayusatv.org and check out how you can support us and keep us going.
Ban and cough drops.
We got a couple of pictures from the. I thought this was encouraging. The New York State Fair, upstate in Gettys, New York. They saw an increased crowd of 75,000 for the Pride Day that they have, and the Pride Day also honors immigrants. New U.S. citizens. 51 were sworn in. So there were a couple of pictures there, and it was very nice to see that.
Yeah.
Seemed to proceed without incident.
But the cutest
At
picture
the
of the year.
At the state fair, where you got a lot of people who like Cracker Barrel.
Don't underestimate our presence everywhere.
Right.
And the sophistication.
And it's
of
great
the
that
people.
so many people are out proud there. Andrew Cuomo tries to attack Zoran Mamdani, who is the Democratic nominee for mayor of New York, as, he's anti-gay because he's affiliated still with Uganda, where he's born. How about this? We got a picture of Zoran from a couple of years ago. That's him on the right without his beard. And that's his roommate, the out gay New York State Senator Jabari Brisport. They live together when they're in Albany.
Right. So, Jabari, State Senate, Zoran, State Assembly. Look at what a cute little pair they are.
They're a nice couple.
Picture of the week.
But the point is, he's one of the least homophobic people in the world, basically, or transphobic. He supports all the cause. We never see you, Andrew, at any of these things, any of our demonstrations. We see Zoran all the time.
And he ran a scavenger hunt around the city this weekend to educate people about New York City history.
And 40,000 people, literally.
4,000.
Oh, sorry, 4,000. That's pretty good. Well, he has 40,000 is the number of volunteers that he has.
Well, he looks like he's cruising to victory, but November is still a little ways away.
Let's go to Minneapolis. Of course, there was that horrible incident with the school there, but this is about Representative Lee Dawn Fink. Lee Dawn Fink, the first transgender woman elected to the Minnesota legislature. We got a picture there. That's her on the right.
Yep.
She was married to Deborah Marie Fox, who was a consultant on anti-gender-based violence.
Mm-hmm.
And State Representative Leish Kozlowski, the first non-binary member of the Minnesota legislature, officiated the ceremony for 175 guests there. And, of course, this is where they had just, a couple of months ago had the funeral for the state representative who was murdered by the right-wing nut. And they felt it was very healing to have this kind of a ceremony in the chamber there in the Capitol.
And you can use the chamber because it's a public space, so you can use it for free. And I loved what I was hearing from Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota this week, who was going after Trump, without reservation, as was his lovely daughter, who we heard from in the campaign last year, too. But Tim Walz, he's still a great guy.
At the University of Wyoming, a federal judge has sided with a sorority that inducted a transgender sister into the group. Now, there were some cisgender women there who sued, and they got their case thrown out last year. But then they came back, and based on Trump's executive orders and things like that, let's sue again. And a Reagan appointee judge said, we find that the majority of the claims must be dismissed. The court can't interfere contractually with this sorority. If they say that they accept trans women, they accept trans women.
A little sad about the story from LA about Lil Nas X being picked up by the cops. The report originally was that he was wandering the streets of LA naked.
In his underwear anyway. Maybe he got naked.
Well, they kept saying naked. We don't know. We have seen only this and a short clip from TMZ, both of which show him in his underwear. Now, and we're going to link to the clip in the show note. There's another reason for you to sign up for the show note. He didn't look all out of control to me, but we haven't seen the place where he was.
Well, he was thrown in the Hooskow.
Accused of
He's
attacking
pleaded
a
not
cop.
guilty to 4 felony charges, including attacking cops, and could face years in prison if convicted.
You know, I read a story this morning about cops who had facially ID'd some guy as a suspect in some crime. And then it was proved that the guy was 8 inches taller than the actual suspect. They arrested him anyway.
Okay.
So let's see what happens.
This is a grotesque story out of Caldwell, Idaho.
Yeah.
Onyx Hope Cornish was killed by her father. He confessed to killing her, and then he drapes her in a rainbow flag, a pride flag, to honor her. I mean, this is nutty stuff. I mean, she was
Well, they were living with his brother and a couple of other family members, and he said he was upset that she had been, and I think the whole family had been bullied by the brother.
So he kills his daughter. I mean, I don't get what happens in
the
these
rationality
cases.
is not
It's
to be looked
It's
for.
very true. In Louisville, Kentucky, 27-year-old trans cyclist Blair Sawyer was fatally hit by a car, and the driver left the scene, and they haven't caught them. All they know is that it was a Ford Taurus. The driver didn't stop. Now, of course, she was misgendered in the early stories. That's where we're learning about this.
But she was a high school honor student, played the piano.
We don't know if this is somebody who veered off the road because he knew her or she was trans. We don't know, or it was
accident.
It was an accident. But leaving the scene of an accident is a crime.
And another death in Lynchburg, Virginia, of a trans woman, Casey Ray, shot dead. She was 31 years old. Well known as an expert hairstylist in the area, had a big family who loved her.
Right. Okay, someone else we lost this week, not to violence, was multimedia artist Chris Doyle at the age of 66, survived by his husband, Timothy Houlihan. He was a painter with a master's in architecture, according to the Times, and he thought of buildings and machines as objects imbued with emotion. And we're going to show you a picture of like his kitchen in Maine. This is the kind of stuff, the kind of art that he did. He wanted to make inanimate objects come to life.
They still are arresting people for throwing the colorful sex toys on WNBA courts. And then there was one at the PGA tournament, too. They threw one on the green on the last hole.
Why do they favor dildos?
Because that's the name of the crypto coin.
Oh, God.
They're trying to get attention. It's all publicity stuff.
I remember when they used to throw ice at players from South Africa during the apartheid times. All right, are we done with that international news? Well, outside of Paris, in a suburb, police have arrested.
Wow.
Okay. The police arrested a 24-year-old man suspected of at least killing 4 men over 16 days, gay men. The men's bodies were found floating in the River Seine, mostly decomposed. The suspect is Tunisian, came to France 3 years ago. The victims were a 48-year-old Frenchman, a 21-year-old Algerian, a 26-year-old Tunisian, and a 21-year-old Arab man. And 2 of them were considered homeless. But police believe this was all due to homophobia that sparked these killings.
Well, they were. This was near a cruising area, so there's some guesses that the attacker had sex with these guys.
Well, the French Interior Minister said that hate crimes against LGBTQ people have increased 11% since 2022.
They found the victim's DNA on the guy's pants.
Yeah.
And phone cards and debit cards.
All right. Anything else international?
Nigeria, 2 teen gay boys were beaten to death by classmates at a boarding school in July. 2 more seriously injured. 11 people have been arrested.
Right.
Well, homosexuality is illegal in Nigeria, and that promotes this kind of attack.
Well, it's also illegal. Go to AIDS News. It's also illegal to exclude preventative drugs from your plans, and CVS Health announced it will not cover Yeztugo, the recently FDA approved, extremely effective, twice yearly HIV prevention drug. And this is a violation of the ACA. So let's see where that goes. PEPFAR funding will be cut in half, both for this and next year's federal budgets. I mean, some of this was restored by Congress, and they're just not giving the money out. They want to end this program.
And many others. In Missouri, they settled a case of an HIV-positive trans woman, Honesty Jade Bishop, who spent 6 years in solitary confinement after her cellmate attacked her. She died in 2024. She had huge anxiety and was suicidal.
They arrested her for, they said she bit an officer and was charged with assaulting because she had HIV infection. And then they say, we can't keep you in the general population because you're going to give everybody HIV, which is totally ignorant. If they keep them on the drugs, of course, they're not going to infect anybody.
Give them the drugs, not 6 years of solitary confinement.
Right.
But they settled the case now that she's dead. All right, entertainment news.
Wait a minute. Just want to see if I have anything else. You go ahead.
Take your time. I'll just call.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm looking forward to a movie on Netflix that's coming up called Boots, I think in October. It's set in 1990 in the Marines, and it's all about gay guys serving in the Don't Ask, Don't Ask, Don't Tell, when it was illegal. And it's Norman Lear's last project.
Really?
So keep your eye out for Boots on Netflix.
And the famous artist, gay artist, Keith Haring, who died of AIDS many years ago, his life is set to be turned into a TV series by the director Andrew Hay, who did Looking and so many good movies. He's going to adapt the screenplay, and it's based on a Brad Gooch book. Haring's work, he says, while profoundly personal, speaks to something deep in us all. His bold line defined a moment in time, yet his art resonates as it did in the 80s. So he was an out gay artist. But Hay is also adapting the Walter Isaacson book about Leonardo da Vinci for Universal.
Yeah. So interesting.
He's a busy guy, and he's a good filmmaker.
Well, I was not the biggest fan of Looking, but
but Weekend was a great movie that he made about a gay couple.
Yeah,
and he did another one about a gay couple more recently.
And the discouraging story of the week is Snoop Dogg going to the movies with his grandchild to see the Disney film Lightyear animated. And in it, there are a lesbian couple who've had a baby. And so the grandson turns to Snoop and says, Papa, they're both women. How'd they have a baby? And Snoop Dogg says, how am I supposed to answer that question? How dare they have things like this in these movies? I can't go to the movies now anymore. Horrible.
All right. If anybody offers you a ticket to see Jeff Ross take a banana for the ride on Broadway, run the other way. I mean, now he's an insult comic, right? You know, but it's more of a
famous for his performances.
More of a monologue about his life. When he finally comes out in the audience and starts insulting people, it gets a little better. But it had a soporific effect on me. Now I'm still a little jet lagged, and I saw this.
So you slept through a lot of it?
Yeah, 2 days after I got back. But if a play is good, it wakes me up.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's just you get engaged.
Well, I'm about to go see the Ava Gardner play this week.
And I'm going to see it on Saturday, so we'll be able to talk about it.
Yes, next week.
With
Elizabeth McGovern
is playing Ava Gardner.
Well, she wrote it. It's from a book, and Elizabeth McGovern wrote the script and is starring in it as Ava Gardner. Well, let's hope it's as good. All right. Well, we'll tell you about that next week, and maybe I'll stop coughing. Bye.